Only the pathetically short-sighted advanced alien species couldn't think to risk their own lives to gather data on the anomaly, needing to rely on lesser, primitive humans to solve the existential threat to the galaxy. Zack slammed his fist on the conference table after presenting his proposal for a manned mission into the reality-shredding spatial anomaly, incensed at being dismissed and laughed at by the Zoraxian scientist Krell Tar and other non-human attendees. He stormed out, determined to prove them wrong. The anomaly was expanding day by day, on track to consume the entire galaxy within a year. Probes and unmanned drones had revealed nothing. If Zack and his fellow humans couldn't discover how to stop the anomaly by entering it directly, all known sentient life would be annihilated, and no aliens were willing to try. The ESA headquarters was bustling as Zack marched in, a determined look on his face. He had spent the last week calling in every favor he had, and now he finally had a team assembled. His best friend Jake, one of the most skilled pilots he knew, was already waiting for him in the lobby. Dr. Samir Patel, a brilliant astrophysicist whose work on wormholes had earned him a Nobel Prize, arrived shortly after. "Gentlemen," Zack said, shaking their hands, "thank you for coming. I know this is a long shot, but we're the only ones who can stop this anomaly from destroying everything we know." Jake grinned. "You know I'm always down for a challenge, Zack. Besides, someone's got to keep you from doing anything too crazy out there." Dr. Patel nodded. "The data we could gather from this mission would be invaluable. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Together they made their way to the conference room, where the ESA board was waiting. Zack took a deep breath before pushing open the doors. He knew he had to sell this mission, or all hope would be lost. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "thank you for seeing us. As you know, the anomaly is expanding at an alarming rate. If we don't act now, it will consume the entire galaxy within a year. We believe that a manned mission is the only way to gather the data we need to stop it." One of the board members frowned. "And why should we risk human lives when the galactic community has already deemed it too dangerous?" Zack leaned forward. "Because we're the only ones willing to try. The potential scientific discoveries from this mission could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. We have the technology and the expertise to pull this off. All we need is your support." The board members exchanged glances, murmuring among themselves. Finally, the chairwoman spoke. "Very well, Mr. Zack. We will fund your mission, but understand that this is a high-risk operation. We cannot guarantee your safety." Zack nodded. "We understand the risks, Mom, but we're prepared to do whatever it takes." With the ESA's backing, Zack and his team began preparations for launch. They trained tirelessly, running simulations and studying every scrap of data they had on the anomaly. The spacecraft they were provided was a marvel of engineering, equipped with the most advanced sensors and safety measures available. But as the launch date approached, they faced a barrage of criticism and mockery from the galactic community. News outlets ran stories calling them foolhardy and suicidal. Krell Tar, the Zoraxian scientist who had dismissed Zack's proposal, went on a public tirade. "These humans are foolish and expendable," he sneered in an interview. "They are throwing their lives away on a mission that has no chance of success. It is a waste of resources and a testament to their primitive nature." Zack gritted his teeth as he watched the interview. He knew Krell Tar was just trying to get under his skin, but it still stung. He turned to his team, who were watching with grim expressions. "Don't listen to him," Zack said. "We know what we're capable of. We're going to prove them all wrong." Jake clapped him on the shoulder. "Damn right we are. Let's show these aliens what humans are made of." As they boarded the spacecraft on launch day, Zack felt a sense of calm wash over him. This was it. This was their chance to make a difference, to save the galaxy from destruction. He strapped himself into his seat and looked out the window at the cheering crowd below. "All systems go," came the voice of Mission Control. "Preparing for liftoff in T-10, 9, 8. Zack closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This was it. This was their moment. The engines roared to life and the spacecraft lifted off the ground, shooting towards the stars. towards the anomaly, towards their destiny. The spacecraft shook violently as it approached the anomaly. Alarms blared and red lights flashed throughout the cockpit. Zack gripped the armrests of his seat, his knuckles turning white. He glanced at the instrument panel, but the readings made no sense. The numbers were fluctuating wildly, and the screens flickered in and out. "What's happening?" Dr. Patel shouted over the cacophony of alarms. "I don't know," Zack replied, his voice strained. "Everything's going haywire. We've lost contact with Earth." Jake fought with the controls, his brow furrowed in concentration. The ship bucked and spun, threatening to tear itself apart. Suddenly, a massive energy surge slammed into the spacecraft, sending it careening off course. "Hold on!" Jake yelled, yanking hard on the joystick. The ship spiraled out of control, the force of the spin pressing them back into their seats. Zack's vision blurred, and he felt like he was going to black out. Just when he thought they were done for, the spinning stopped. The ship stabilized, but something was wrong. They were moving again, but not under their own power. "We're caught in some kind of gravitational pull," Jake said, his eyes wide. "It's dragging us towards the anomaly." Zack stared out the window at the swirling vortex of energy. It was mesmerizing and terrifying. As they drew closer, he realized that it wasn't just an energy signature. It was a gateway, a portal to somewhere else. "It's a wormhole," Dr. Patel breathed, his face lit up with wonder. "A gateway to another dimension." Zack swallowed hard. They had a choice to make. They could try to break free of the gravitational pull and head back to Earth, or they could take a leap of faith and enter the gateway. He looked at his team, saw the determination in their eyes. "We came here to find answers," he said. "To save the galaxy. We can't turn back now." Jake nodded. "I'm with you, Zack. Let's do this." Dr. Patel took a deep breath. "We may never return, but the potential for discovery is too great to ignore. I say we go for it." Zack gripped the controls, his heart pounding in his chest. "All right then, hold on tight. We're going in." The ship plunged into the gateway and everything went white. Zack felt like he was being stretched and compressed at the same time, his body twisting in impossible ways. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. They emerged on the other side and Zack's jaw dropped. They were in a world unlike anything he had ever seen. Towering structures of glass and metal rose up from the ground, glittering in the strange purple light. The sky was a swirling mass of colors, and the air hummed with energy. "Where are we?" Jake asked, his voice hushed with awe. Dr. Patel consulted his instruments, his eyes widening. "According to these readings, we're in a pocket dimension, a self-contained universe separate from our own." Zack stared out at the alien landscape, his mind racing. "Look at those structures. They're not natural. Someone built them." As if on cue, a holographic figure appeared in front of them. It was tall and slender, with elongated limbs and a head that tapered to a point. It spoke in a language that Zack had never heard before, but somehow he understood. "Welcome, travelers from beyond the gateway. You have entered the realm of the Protheans, the ancient guardians of the galaxy. We have been waiting for you." Zack exchanged a shocked glance with his team. The Protheans? The mythical alien race that had vanished millions of years ago. They were real, and they were here, in this bizarre dimension. The hologram continued. "We have watched your galaxy for eons, waiting for the right moment to reveal ourselves. The anomaly that threatens your universe is our creation, a test to see who would be worthy of our knowledge." Dr. Patel stepped forward, his voice trembling with excitement. "What knowledge? What can you teach us?" The Prothean hologram smiled. "Everything. The secrets of the universe, the true nature of reality. But first you must prove yourselves worthy. You must pass the trials that we have prepared for you." Zack felt a chill run down his spine. Trials? What kind of trials? But he knew that they had come too far to turn back now. They had to see this through, no matter what challenges lay ahead. He turned to his team, his expression determined. "All right then, let's do this. Let's show the Protheans what humans are made of." As they stepped out of the spacecraft and onto the alien soil, Zack felt a sense of purpose wash over him. They were here to save the galaxy, to unravel the mysteries of the universe, and with his team by his side, he knew that they could face whatever trials lay ahead. They were ready for anything. Zack and his team ventured deeper into the alien city, their footsteps echoing off the smooth metallic surfaces. The structures towered above them, their sleek lines and intricate patterns unlike anything they had ever seen on Earth. Dr. Patel couldn't contain his excitement, his eyes wide with wonder as he scanned the surroundings with his instruments. "This is incredible," he breathed. "The technology here is beyond anything we've ever encountered. It's like something out of a science fiction novel." Jake nodded, his hand resting on the butt of his sidearm. "Yeah, but let's not forget why we're here. We need to find out what's causing that anomaly and figure out how to stop it." As they explored further, they came across a massive chamber filled with holographic displays and glowing consoles. In the center of the room stood a towering machine, its surface covered in pulsing lines of energy. Zack approached it cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. "What is this thing?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The Prothean hologram materialized beside him, its voice echoing through the chamber. "This is the device that created the anomaly. It was designed to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself, allowing us to escape a catastrophic event that threatened our civilization." Zack's eyes widened. "Wait, you're telling me that you created the anomaly intentionally?" The hologram nodded. "Yes, but we did not anticipate the consequences. In our desperation to survive, we inadvertently created a rift in the fabric of reality itself. If left unchecked, it will continue to grow until it consumes your entire galaxy." Dr. Patel stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "But why would you do something so reckless? Surely you must have known the risks involved." The hologram's expression turned somber. "We were facing extinction, we had no choice. But now we see the error of our ways. That is why we have brought you here, to help us set things right." Zack exchanged a glance with his team. "So what do we need to do?" The hologram gestured towards the machine. "You must deactivate the device and close the rift, but be warned, it will not be easy. The process requires a biological component, a living being to interface with the machine and navigate its systems." Zack felt a chill run down his spine. He knew what that meant. One of them would have to sacrifice themselves to save the galaxy. He stepped forward, his jaw set with determination. "I'll do it," he said, his voice steady. "I'm the only human here. It has to be me." Jake grabbed his arm, his eyes wide with fear. "Zack, no, you can't do this. It's too dangerous." Zack shook his head. "We don't have a choice, Jake. If we don't close that rift, everything we know will be destroyed. I have to do this." He turned to Dr. Patel, his expression grim. "Doc, I need you to talk me through this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know you can guide me." Dr. Patel nodded, his face pale. "I'll do my best, Zack, but you have to be careful. We don't know what kind of effect this will have on your body and mind." Zack took a deep breath and stepped up to the machine. He placed his hands on the glowing panels and immediately felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. It was like nothing he had ever experienced before, a rush of knowledge and understanding that threatened to overwhelm him. He gasped as images flashed through his mind, glimpses of the Protheans' advanced technology and the nature of the anomaly itself. He saw the rift in space-time, saw the way it was tearing apart the fabric of reality, and he saw the way to close it, the sequence of commands that would shut down the device and seal the breach. But it was too much, too fast. He felt his consciousness slipping away, his body shaking with the strain of the interface. He heard Jake and Dr. Patel shouting his name, heard the urgency in their voices, but he couldn't respond, couldn't break free of the machine's grip. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The machine powered down, the energy dissipating into the air. Zack slumped to the ground, his body exhausted and his mind reeling. Jake and Dr. Patel rushed to his side, their faces etched with worry. "Zack, are you all right?" Jake asked, his voice shaking. "Talk to me, buddy." Zack blinked, his vision slowly clearing. He felt like he had just run a marathon, his muscles aching and his head pounding. But he was alive, and he knew what he had to do. "I'm okay," he said, his voice hoarse. "I saw it, Jake. I saw how to close the rift. We have to hurry before it's too late." He struggled to his feet, leaning heavily on Jake for support. Dr. Patel was already at the console, his fingers flying over the controls as he input the sequence Zack had seen in his vision. The machine hummed to life, the energy building to a crescendo. And then with a blinding flash of light it was over. The rift sealed itself, the anomaly disappearing from the sensors as if it had never existed. Zack sagged with relief, his heart pounding in his chest. "We did it," he whispered, his voice filled with awe. "We actually did it." Jake grinned, clapping him on the back. "You did it, Zack. You saved the galaxy." Dr. Patel nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. "And we've made the discovery of a lifetime. The knowledge we've gained here could change everything." Zack smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment wash over him. They had done the impossible, had faced the unknown and emerged victorious, and they had done it together, as a team. As they made their way back to the ship, ready to return to Earth and share their incredible story, Zack couldn't help but feel a sense of hope for the future. They had proven that humanity was capable of great things, of rising to the challenge and facing the unknown with courage and determination. And he knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, as a species united in their quest for knowledge and understanding. Zack's mind raced as he processed the knowledge he had gained from the Prothean interface. The secrets of the universe unfolded before him, and he saw the path to closing the rift and saving the galaxy. But there was a catch. "Someone has to stay behind," he said, his voice heavy with realization. "The connection needs to be maintained from this side, or the rift will reopen." Jake and Dr. Patel exchanged a glance, the weight of Zack's words sinking in. They knew what it meant. One of them would have to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Jake stepped forward, his jaw set with determination. "I'll do it. I'll stay behind." Zack shook his head, his eyes wide with disbelief. "No, Jake, you can't. We need you. I need you." But Jake was resolute. "Zack, you're the only one who understands this technology. You're the only one who can close the rift. It has to be me." Dr. Patel nodded, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "He's right, Zack. We have no other choice." Zack felt his heart clench, the reality of the situation hitting him like a punch to the gut. He knew they were right. He knew what had to be done, but that didn't make it any easier. He pulled Jake into a tight hug, his voice choked with emotion. "I'll never forget what you've done, Jake. You're a hero." Jake grinned, his eyes bright with unshed tears. "Just make sure you name a planet after me, okay?" Zack laughed, the sound tinged with sadness. "You got it, buddy." They set to work, preparing for their return to their own dimension. Dr. Patel helped Jake interface with the Prothean technology, ensuring that the connection would be maintained. Zack input the sequence that would close the rift, his fingers trembling as he worked. But just as they were about to activate the gateway, a sudden explosion rocked the chamber. Zack spun around, his eyes widening in horror as he saw a group of alien drones swarming towards them, their weapons blazing. "It's Kreltar," Dr. Patel shouted, ducking behind a console, as a blast of energy sizzled past his head. "He must have sent them to stop us." Zack grabbed his sidearm, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew they had to get back to the gateway, had to close the rift before it was too late, but the drones were relentless, their attacks growing more fierce with every passing second. He and Dr. Patel fought back, their weapons blazing as they took down drone after drone, but there were too many of them, their numbers seemingly endless. Zack felt a searing pain in his shoulder as a blast of energy grazed him, but he gritted his teeth and kept fighting. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they managed to clear a path to the gateway. Zack turned to Jake, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and determination. "Jake, we have to go. We have to close the rift." Jake nodded, his face etched with a grim resolve. "Go, I'll hold them off." Zack hesitated, his heart torn, but he knew there was no other way. He clasped Jake's hand one last time, their eyes meeting in a silent farewell. "Goodbye, my friend." Then he and Dr. Patel turned and ran, leaping through the gateway just as another explosion rocked the chamber behind them. They tumbled onto the floor of their own ship, the gateway snapping shut behind them with a blinding flash of light. Zack scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding as he raced to the console. He input the final sequence, his fingers flying over the controls, and then, with a deep, resonant hum, the rift sealed itself, the anomaly disappearing from the sensors as if it had never existed. Zack sagged against the console, his body shaking with exhaustion and grief. They had done it. They had saved the galaxy. But at what cost? As they made their way back to Earth, Zack couldn't help but feel a sense of bittersweet triumph. They had achieved the impossible, had made discoveries that would change the course of human history. But they had lost a friend, a hero, in the process. When they finally landed, they were greeted by a crowd of cheering onlookers, their faces filled with awe and gratitude. The news of their success had spread like wildfire, and the entire planet had come out to welcome them home. But there was one face in the crowd that stood out, one face that Zack had never expected to see. It was Krell-Tar, the Zoraxian scientist who had mocked and dismissed them from the very beginning. Zack felt a surge of anger as he strode towards him, his fists clenched at his sides. But before he could speak, Krell-Tar held up a hand, his expression one of genuine remorse. "I was wrong," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "I underestimated you, and I apologize. What you have done here today is a testament to the strength and resilience of your species. You have earned our respect and our gratitude." Zack felt a lump form in his throat, his anger dissipating in the face of Krell-Tar's sincerity. He nodded, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, but we didn't do it alone. We had help from a friend who sacrificed everything to make this possible. His name was Jake, and he was a hero." Krell-Tar bowed his head, his expression solemn. "Then let us remember him and honor his sacrifice. Let us tell his story, so that all may know of his bravery and selflessness." Zack felt a tear slide down his cheek, but he smiled through it, his heart filled with a bittersweet sense of pride. They had done it. They had saved the galaxy and proven that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. And as he looked out at the sea of faces before him, he knew that Jake's legacy would live on, that his sacrifice would never be forgotten. The galaxy had once dismissed them, had seen them as nothing more than primitive upstarts. But now they knew the truth. Now they saw humanity for what it truly was, a species of explorers and adventurers, of heroes and pioneers, a species that would stop at nothing to unravel the mysteries of the universe and to protect those who called it home. Zack squared his shoulders, his eyes blazing with determination. There was still so much to be done, still so many discoveries to be made. But he knew that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead together as a united force for good in the galaxy. And he knew that somewhere out there among the stars, Jake was watching over them, a proud smile on his face. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.